such a sweetheart. Want a taste? Put a smile on your pretty face. I'll pay you all that you in good hands. Are you down and ready for a real man?
What you doing tonight?
I'm doing nothing.
Let's go get out
And do something.
With me, it's always
Bumping.
Now let me show you
Real loving.
Take a ride with me.
Take a ride with the EAZE. Take a ride with me.
Take a ride with the EAZE.
Take a ride with me.
Take a ride with the EAZE.
Take a ride with me. Take a ride with me. Hey. Yep. All right, we're about to go ahead and finish this off for one of the favorite songs of Noble Kava, Red Drink. How many of y'all on that red drink? Where my siblings at? I'm on that Kool-Aid. I'm on that high C. I'm on that red cherry, not the icy. I'm on that red drink. I'm red shit. I'm on that red drink. I'm on that red shit. I'm sipping watermelon. No Beyonce. Put a ring on it. No Beyonce. I'm on that red drink. I'm on that red shit. I'm on that red drink. I'm on that red shit. EAZE, Dawg, coming with that juice. 1800 with the Welches, make you loose. TURN, what you gonna do? I'ma take 7 cups for the crew. On the killer Kool-Aid, R.I.P. Got enough for everybody, fuck with me. If you're reppin' yo hood, throw it up. It's the red drain party, pull it up. I'm on that Kool-Aid. I'm on that high C. I'm on that red cherry, not the icy. I'm on that red drink. I'm on that red shit. I'm on that red drink. I'm on that red shit. I'm sipping watermelon. No Beyonce. Put a ring on it. No Beyonce. I'm on that red drink. I'm on that red shit. I'm on that red drink. I'm on that red shit. If you happy and you know it, drink some happy juice. Mix it up with some candy and some apple juice. This ain't no fruit punch, this some grown shit. Don't have bottles, don't worry, bring my own shit. I be chillin' like a boss, like that main back. Sippin' gin and juice like Snoop Dogg, lay back. My track is code red, call 911. On some Patrick Star shit, about to go to dumb. I'm on that Kool-Aid. I'm on that high C. I'm on that red cherry, not the icy. I'm on that red drink. I'm on that red shit. I'm on that red drink. I'm on that red shit. I'm sipping watermelon. No Beyonce. Put a ring on it. No Beyonce. I'm on that red drink. I'm on that red shit. I'm on that red drink. I'm on that red shit. Woo! Look at my cup. Feeling like K Michelle giving no fucks. Double my cup, they be faking just lean in my cup. Lean in my cup. Leave me alone. In my ozone. What I be on? And when I on that Patron. Sipping and sipping, know that I know I be on the floor tripping. Taking them Hennessy shots, shooting them up like a pimpin'. All my bartenders, hit me up another one. Coming back home, next thing I know I be gone. Yeah! Where my siblings at? Where my motherfucking siblings at? Let's go. Where my siblings at? Where my motherfucking siblings at? EAZE, Dawg. Where my siblings at? Where my motherfucking siblings at? Yeah! Yeah! SoundCloud, Ease Doggy Dog. Instagram, Ease Doggy Dog. Reverb Nation, Ease Dog. When in doubt, Google Ease Dog.
Yo, yo. Give it up one more time for EAZE Dog, y'all. All right. We're about to sit down with this man, get a little peek behind the veil. So please join us for that. All right. What's up, bro? That was dope, man. Thank you. Appreciate it. P and E's. Right on, man. Well, here, we're going to share this mic. I want to ask you a few questions and kind of just figure out what makes you tick, you know? Did you grow up here?
Oh, yes. Born and raised. You'll be surprised how many people look at me and don't even think that I'm born and raised, especially with all these newcomers that be coming in Asheville, ranking the dang rent prices, of course. And not to mention that it's starting to be claustrophobic up in here with all these people trying to come here.
No, for sure. Traffic has definitely changed. So did you go what was your home like? Do you have like, let's say, what was your favorite movie as a kid? Do you have a favorite movie when you were a kid?
Well, let's say that I have so many movies that it's hard to count, but I'll say one of my favorite movies would have to be Pokemon, the first movie, because I'm actually a Pokemon fanatic as well as an anime fanatic. In case y'all have followed my Instagram, I actually have went to a anime convention about a few weeks prior where I actually dressed up like Ash Ketchum from Pallet Town.
Oh yeah, right on, man. So how old are you?
Take a guess. Take one wild guess.
I'm gonna say 32.
Huh. That's weird. You're like the only person that actually have guessed like my age over. I'm actually 31. Usually I actually get called that I'm either 25, 22. Yeah, you're right about that. I still got that youth. It actually runs in my genes, fortunately.
I'm gonna let you in on a little secret, and I don't mean anything offensive by this, but white people have a hard time telling how old black people are. Just so is it hard to tell how old white people are?
Not really. I can actually tell by the face of the age by now.
Right on, man. Well, when did who got you into hip hop? Did you come from like a musical family? Was there a lot of music playing in your house as you grew up? Who kind of exposed you to hip hop, and how sort of like what was your first sort of foray into it?
Well, I did come from a musical family, but we definitely be partying, listening to music back in the day. I'm talking about back in the day when the grown folks be having them old school parties with the old school jams, old school over new school, by the way. And thanks to my big brother, I actually came introduced to hip hop by listening to his type of music. And eventually, it actually rubbed on to me, not knowing that I actually would be the one doing hip hop music too.
You say your brother's a rapper, or who's just into hip hop?
He was just into hip hop. Yeah, but the rapping part is all me. It came from me.
That's cool, man. When did you start? When did you start writing rhymes?
Believe it or not, it actually took place back when I was either 11 or 12. It was in the summer camp, and they had like a talent show, and I actually decided to do poetry, which will actually become like the form of rapping, which you will already know me for that. And I actually fell in love ever since the first time I actually laid my first rhyme in the talent show.
That's awesome, man. Well, you definitely have an amazing stage presence. No question about that. You have an infectious energy. People love you. Uh, yeah, man. I'm interested in those early exposures and sort of the early experiences because for me, I started making music because I would go out and get intoxicated. I would take drugs, and I would go to dirty basements, and there would be sounds playing, and I would have no idea what was happening, and it just seemed like sorcery to me. So I kind of wanted to decode that, and that's sort of what this thing's all about. I definitely remember getting music from my older brother and listening to his Naughty by Nature tape in secret because I wasn't supposed to have it. That was definitely a first memory. Here we go now, Holly, if you hear, But yeah, man. So then you've been rapping since you were 11 years old. That's amazing. I haven't done anything for that long at all. Maybe eat. I've eaten for that long. That's about it. uh, Let me think, man. What else? Sort of who are some of your influences? Like some of your early influences and some of your recent influences.
Well, in case you actually have seen the hat, EAZE Dawg, believe it or not, one of my main influences will have to become one of the most prolific and most talented rappers of all time, Snoop Doggy Dogg. Snoop Dogg, one of the best. That's where I actually got the dog from inspiration from him. The ease actually came from me because of my personality, laid back, down to earth, drama free, just the way to be.
That's right, man. We got started a little late because we're a little too laid back here. Sometimes we're on island time. No, I'm trying to. This live stream stuff is uh is new for me, so it's a new adventure, a new learning experience. Uh, would you say that your styles evolved over time? Because I think your lyrics. Normally I don't really get down so much with like you know, I guess like I don't want to say gangster rap, but like you know, I'm more into like conscious music generally. But your lyrics have that edge, that like that street feel, but they're not. You're not offensive. You don't seem to be interested in putting anybody down. You seem to be interested in like celebration and enjoying life. Is that accurate?
Yes, especially of how downgrading the music, the radio music these days. I mean, like I really don't listen to rap that much because for that reason. And as me being the rapper that I am, I always want to be sure I actually give like something that anybody can relate to and anybody can listen to that makes them feel good about everybody, but for themselves as well. And that's why I actually make the type of rap music that I do because there's people out there that actually are interested in the type of message that I actually deliver to the majority of my songs. And as long the people are happy, I'm gonna continue to do what I do best.
Yeah, hell yeah, man. Well, people definitely are happy. Uh, let's break down some of your lyrics. There's you say no fiance, put a ring on it, or no Beyonce, put a ring on it, no fiance. Is that right?
It's actually drinking watermelon, no Beyonce, referring to the song of hers. And then like basically following it up with put a ring on it, Beyonce's other hot song, and then following up with the rain part, no fiance. You get it like fiance as like engagement ring, get it?
No, absolutely. That's cool. So you're not interested in getting married? What if Beyonce proposed?
Well, it determines because I kind of have like some trust issues, like meaning like trusting females these days. Unfortunately, the way these females are these days in the generation is making it pretty hard to try to not only trust them but also find like a potential forever mate because there's only like a few good women out there. You heard the saying that there's only a few good men out there. There's only a few good women out there for East.
So basically, what I think you're saying is people suck that are our age in general. Sounds like sounds like yeah, it is hard to trust people. I have a little saying that goes Love everybody, trust a few, and fear no one. And you seem pretty fearless on stage. Do you get nervous before you perform, or does it just feel natural to you?
Well, I've been doing that for like almost 20 years. And ever since that I've been doing this, like since 11, my nervousness kind of fell out the window a long time ago. It actually become more of a therapeutic situation whenever I get on stage. I consider that to be like therapy, a form of medicine, like the medicine that some of y'all take, whether it be like with medicinal marijuana or prescribed pills, etc. I choose music as my type of medicine.
That's awesome, man. I choose music and prescribed pills and the ethnobotanicals provided here by Noble Kava. We're down at 268 Biltmore Avenue, Asheville, North Carolina. We sell kava. We sell kratom. We have novelty CBD sticks that, they're fun if you're on a date or something. Throw them in a coffee, whatever. But back to you. Um, you say music is therapy. Do you what's your normal process for writing? Like what time of day do you write? Does it come can you just sit down anytime you want and write, or does it just happen out of nowhere and you have to sort of, you know, accommodate the creativity, accommodate the spirit? Cuz for me, like, I can't most of my good music is written during a period where it's like coming through me. Like, I don't take credit for it almost. Most of my albums I've done in like a week, but the flip side is it's really hard for me to sit down just as a disciplined artist to say I'm gonna do this right now and come out with something good. Are you able to do that?
It determines the type of mood that I am. Like for example, if I actually feel the need to actually talk to the ladies and feel interested in that area, I actually will make a song about the ladies. Or if I actually feel so hyper excited, I actually will make a happy and exciting song. And basically, just come out random. Rest of the process is just basically random, just like Asheville. Hashtag random.
Red ring, indeed. So, uh, growing up, I hated high school. I hated middle school. Pretty much sixth grade was probably the best. It was probably I think my life's been downhill since 10 years old, something like that. But I think we're on an upswing. Anyway, I couldn't stand school. I was mostly bored. I was picked on. Did you were you homeschooled? Did you go to regular public school? Did you enjoy school? What was that like for you?
Well, I actually did go to regular school, but unfortunately, I would be like a target of ridicule, taunting, and teasing, all because of what I actually am as a person. And for those that don't know me, I'm gonna let you on a little secret. I do have Asperger's syndrome and autism, and I often get bullied because of that. And sometimes I just don't even want to deal with it. But thanks to music, I actually have a reason to show them what they haven't been missing on. And they miss it out not only a talented musician, creativity, but also a wonderful, caring, loving person that I am and was raised to be.
Hell yeah, man. Well, yeah, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. That's a beautiful message, and I think your music sort of reflects that. Uh, I'm sorry you went through that. I went through the same sort of shit, but for different reasons. But I'd like to say, like, I really admire um, what you've been able to do, even though you've been up against that sort of bullying, and you have your state of consciousness is different than other people's, and you've still been able to sort of work within this society that doesn't always make room for you or doesn't always make you feel accommodated. So I really admire that, and I want to say I think you're an awesome artist. You seem like a really nice person. I'm looking forward to getting to know you more. Um, all right, let's you want to wrap this up? Is there anything else you want to talk about?
Well, I just want to thank Noble Kava for giving me an outlet to actually showcase my music. Unfortunately, there ain't not many places in Asheville that actually showcase the type of music that I actually love doing on the regular basis. And I just hope that Asheville will provide more outlets and opportunities for rappers like me to shine. Because this is Asheville, and we have a whole lot of talented people out here, especially in the hip hop industry, because we feel like, as opposed to the guitar, songwriting, folk playing person, I feel like that the hip hop person should actually get equal opportunity as well as everybody else, just like everybody else.
Well, certainly, man. It's awesome to have you. I definitely want you at my birthday party in October. I want you to do a little set. I'd love to have you for the end of the year. Cuttlefish Collective, we're gonna do a uh, big party with all the all stars from the year. So we'd love to have you back. Appreciate you coming through, man. It was awesome, man. I really, really admire you. Thank you so much. Uh, Cuttlefish Collective. This is EAZE Dawg. Check him out. Google the EAZE Dawg. He's the man. We're gonna take a short break and we're gonna come back with producer MC extraordinaire Thump Drag. Stay tuned, y'all. I'm sorry, YouTube, for playing Mushroom Jazz. Please don't pull this video down. I know, but it's copyrighted, and they'll pull it. So just let that 3 minutes slide. Mark Farina, you're a cool guy. Come on, man. Be a sport. I'm sorry. Give money to Mark Farina, please. This is my album, Vision Quest. You can get it on Bandcamp, SammyParadise.bandcamp.com. We're going to be right back with the one and only Thump Drag in about 5 minutes. A real 5 minutes. A legit 5 minutes. We'll see you soon. Yeah.
And the visit quest is right up on the mountain. They say up the hill. It's quite often you go on a 4-day fast of food and no water, and this allows you to be in tune with Mother Nature because you're out there in the woods on the mountain. And you're just by yourself with no other than the creatures that own the hill.
I'll let you know. What up, man? All right, we're back. We're back. I want to introduce to you Thump Drag. He's gonna spit for us a little bit, and thanks for coming, bro. Yeah, you ready to get this done? All right.
Yo, what's up, guys? How's it going? I'm gonna be doing some rapping, and I'm gonna be doing some. It's kind of like some. I don't want to say like conscious rap, but it's very like theme based. Two of the songs, at least, are very like nocturnal jams, and then one is kind of this goofy little seduction song that I had to do for a hip hop poetics class via 2015. So yeah, the first song is going to be called "Still There." Oh wait. All right. Yeah. Outside Asheville, walking along the highway, bobbing to the beat of my own drum. Outside Costco when it's closed, watching lights flicker. Light from street lamps looks like supernovas if your eyes squint to garbage cans. Could be caves of wonder to explore. Late at night, I often wish I didn't love her anymore. Nighttime, diner steaks, remembering the past. Kite flying, pirate games, getting in that ass. The smell of Halloween in 7 years still haunts me. Pancake social, staring at the cuties awkwardly. I long to be, belong to these memories, sipping coffee, watching the radio across from me. Everything is chalky in my vision. I haunt the evening kitchen. I'm the box of cereal that you forgot, and now I'm locked up in this prison of a pantry. I'm the smaller things you're missing. I'm the thoughts that fill your memories like poppy seeds and biscuits. The donkey lady underneath the bridge. I'm the long neck spirit outside your window that's barking in your ear. I'm your lost forgotten years. I'm the condoms, I'm the beers. I'm the chocolate spheres that you kiss off with her tears. Now throw your hands up if you still care. For the times that you wish that she was still there. For the ghost haunting buildings, just watching fans spinning. For the smell of that summery still air. Yeah, now throw your hands up if you still care. For the times that you wish that she was still there. For the ghost haunting buildings, just watching fans spinning. Yeah. You can catch me in the bathroom while I'm slicing up my wrist while thinking of the times we kissed. We played the game where every time they opened sign would blink, we'd smile and we'd line up both the lips, and I can still taste in your saliva, your limery to drink. I remember when we fought over the tiniest of shit. When I dive into your eyes, when I was inside between your hips, how you taught me how to juke behind the pizza shop, watching the sunset and your hair down to your cheek that still had cheese sauce on it. The way that you'd speak up when you didn't give 3 fucks. I could listen to you talk to a tree stump and I still have my ears cupped and tear up. And even in a storm, I'd stick it out like a beer gut. I guess you could say that you painted me blue, wink, or throw out a sweet good thing like bakeries do. Think everything you touched in my house now has eyes and steams when I walk by like fucking chicken pot pie, and clothes that are not mine float through the halls at night. If you take pictures of ruins, you can see more balls of light. Now I'm underneath a light, slump like whipped cream when it's put onto a slice of hot pie. My eyes are not dry. Now throw your hands up if you still care. For the times that you wish that she was still there. For the ghost haunting buildings, just watching fans spinning. For the smell of that summery still air. Yeah, and throw your hands up if you still care. For the times that you wish that she was still there. For the ghost haunting buildings, just watching fans spinning, yeah, yo. I get a feeling to this ex named Beep. I used to smile at her when she was fast asleep. It was 80 degrees and we were so in love, and now I'm lost like she's little Bo Peep and I'm the sheep. Yeah, I get a feeling to this ex named Beep. I used to smile at her when she was fast asleep. It was 80 degrees and we were so in love, and now I'm lost like she's little Bo Peep and I'm the sheep. Yeah, I get a feeling to the I used to smile. Yeah, it was 80 degrees and we were so in love, and now I'm lost like she's little Bo Peep. Yeah, and I'm the sheep. All right, thank you guys. Yeah, Thump Drag. That's my artist name. I paint also, but tonight I'm doing raps for you guys. This next one is pretty much the same theme, nocturnal lyrical emissions. So gonna get a cracking on that one. This one's called The Sameness.
Purchase your tracks today.
All right. Yeah. Have you ever just wanted to be alone in the night, in the motel parking lot, staring at the window lights, dancing to the crickets underneath suburban street lamps, dreaming of faraway places with purple seas? That's where I invite my thoughts. Closed convenience shops or weekend stops, watching signs spin with air conditioners like ballerina tops. A clear blue sky is darker than a midnight atmosphere, in abandoned parks chilling with cats and deer with half a beer. Since she walked away like a coyote, I've been lonely, but I feel a love so holy for these moments I'm alone. On a muggy summer night, sometimes the air conditioner can be a television set when you stare at it and think of her. A floodlight's a spotlight for ghostly orchestras. The night puts on a breeze that puts a roll beneath my corneas. Stuck in the past, a ghost in a mental haunted shack. I relive all of these moments and I really want them back. Yeah, the past is the present on a night in the burbs, sitting on a swing set alone, puffing on herb. But I like being alone in the park, in the dark, with the night still is dark and things lurking like sharks. Yeah, the past is the present on a night in the burbs, sitting on a swing set alone, puffing the herb. But I like being alone in the park, in the dark, with the night still is dark. Yeah. A skag from a factory can be a meteorite if you see it right. In the Indiana dunes deep at night, as the frog takes a shower underneath the leaky tap, I watch and think of how my mom used to make me easy math. Gone are the days locked away in far off places, looking at the purgatory where the sky's apartment beige. I see the train calling for its lost boxcar. Odds are people and objects apart are not far. When we made love with your lip milk and toffee with pussy, and you knocked over the fresh, hotly baked chocolate chip cookies. Jet black nails, leather jacket, blonde hair up, campfire tales, tennis rackets, parasailing. These are things on my mind in the summer when others slumber, sitting under winter vines, eating up some buttered muffins, staying up till the frosty morning gives me pop tart, warm head. I'm as American as sauce pot, cornbread, orange red lights that leads me down the meadowy road, wondering what's out in the cornfield, getting it low. Sitting in McDonald's, looking at the fries and sighing over different things I promised, broken, lied, and hide it from you. Yo, but the past is the present on a night while you're lonely in the Motel 6 parking lot, puffing on stogies. Diner in Kentucky can be endlessly appealing. I don't know why these motherfuckers don't get the same feeling. Yeah, the past is the present on a night in the burbs, sitting on a swing set alone, puffing on herb. But I like being alone in the park, in the dark, with the night still is dark and things lurking like sharks. The past is the present on a night in the burbs, sitting on a swing set alone, puffing on herb. But I like being alone in the park, in the dark, with the night still is dark and things lurking like sharks. All right, that was the second one, guys. Thank you so much. Yeah, I screwed up a few lines on that one, but you know what? We're going to keep going. Yeah, and then this one is a very different type of song. This one's not sad at all. It's pretty goofy. So this one's called the Seduction Rap, and I'll explain that in a bit when we sit down on the couch. But yeah, here we go. And this is on Jay Dilla's instrumental for his song Life. Yeah. Okay. Baby girl, yeah. Okay. Yeah. You seem like a girl that I want to have a Thanksgiving dinner. Care for you like Obama, hold hands in the winter. Give you foot rubs, put on band-aids for splinters. Have a couple kids together, hire last-minute sitters. I want to stare into your eyes while I marinate your joy holes in Arabic spice rubs and Paraguayan oils. Get lost in your lip cracks, 127 hours. Watch you sleep, your stomach rising like ovens with leavened flour. A cottage in the woods on the edge of Wisconsin. Get underneath the warm blanket, roast chestnuts and watch the snow fall to their feet. A dog beneath our feet, all encompassing each other till we're obsolete. How you stretch your feet when you wake up as the sun's peering over, strike a knowing sexy poses while pouring Cheerios. Our faces touching, I feel your lashes go like hummingbird wings. Your smile is like a pass for colorful springs. Yeah, when I say you're good, I mean you're literal good. I want you to shake like a leaf when I tease your clitoral hood. I want to sip coffee with you over the rail that's on our porch and eat donuts in the backyard on a January's morning. Press down my fingers on your labia majorum. Make your back arch like the tail that's on a swordfish. I want to give you all of my love in a Spanish galleon. They say who knows lust for love like shallots, scallions. But when I look into your eyes, big and brown like coconuts, I feel so safe, like a safe. I want to crack you, open up you. I want to make you smile in a very good way. I see you clubbing like it's church. Yeah, Friday's a good day. I want to love you more than anything in this whole world. I want you to make me forget about all my old girls. I want to kiss you on your cheek for no apparent reason. You can be my Aphrodite and I'll be your Hercules. I want to love you more than anything in this whole world. I want you to make me forget about all my old girls. I want to kiss you on your cheek for no apparent reason. Yeah. All right. I want you like Jason wanted the golden fleece. I want to take out our trash and to fold our sheets. To me, this is super obvious. I think I'd look a hell of a lot better with you beside. We're the fox and the hound. I want to hop, skip, and bound when you walk in that Mark Jacobs bound. Wow. I want to rest my head on your collarbone and hair. Have secret handshakes, make you pancakes with mascarpone and pears. I'm like a bloodhound when it comes to a whiff of your perfume. Yeah, I'd even give up smoking cigarettes for you. And that's honestly the truth. I'm not just bobbing in the booth. From sex, I would abstain like I'm polishing a tooth. But you don't have to get it, like no one really gets love. But I know when I got it, want to see where it ends up. I want to kiss away your tears, dissipate your fears, sip a case of beers with you when you call me baby Ethan. I want to treat you better, go spin Papa Ethan's cheddar, put a cock between your legs, you feel like hot Venetian weather. You're an anomaly, a feather, I'm a condor in your presence. I'm a longboard, you're an expert, I'm a coffee, you're a breakfast. No, you're not snowflakes at Christmas and like loaf cakes and biscuits. I'm humble and I'm crumble when you rotate them hipses. I was a Maury to your foray, I was sore faced to witness. When you orate, it's like sorbet, it's like foreplay, it's richness. I love how you sit, how you blink, how you walk like a mountain lynx. 1,000 things I could go on about, but most of all, I love how when the sun hits your hair, the streets fall silent and a lull splits the air. And if you listen closely, you can muster a prayer, and the angels, they fly down and they hum to a player. And when you laugh, they play either a trumpet or snare, and all evil in this world stays in its dungeonous lair. And even when you're crabby like a dungeonist, there's always something sweet about you like a plum or a pear. And I think that we would make just a chumly old pair. But I think that if I asked you to come have a beer, it would be like sticking my thumb up the rump of a bear, and you'd probably run off with fist pump in the air. You'd say, I'm good, thanks, or something unfair. And I would just go home and I'd slump in a chair and just keep going on about loving you, dear. Yeah, yeah. Go on about loving you, dear. Yo, yeah. All right. I want to love you more than anything in this whole world. I want you to make me forget about all my old girls. I want to kiss you on your cheek for no apparent reason. You can be my Aphrodite and I'll be your Hercules. I want to love you more than anything in this whole world. I want you to make me forget about all the old girls. I want to kiss you on your cheek for no apparent reason. You can be my Aphrodite and I'll be your Hercules. All right, guys. That was my shit. Yeah. Thanks for listening. Thanks for tuning in. That is that. Yeah. Phase 2.
What up? Yo, everybody give it up for Thump Drag. One more time for Thump Drag. A little this way for me. You're wonderful. Shout out to Delaney Storm Brown. Go the other way with it. So that I would like to be in the picture too. Perfect. All right. Well, yeah. That's pretty good. We can do that. Hey, let's buddy up here. Let's cozy up. Yeah. No, this is about getting my face on the internet. Come on. Yeah. Actually, I'm in the light. You should get your shine, bro. Here. Yeah, you get your shine, man. That was dope, brother.
Thank you, man. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, of course, brother. Of course, it's a pleasure to have you. Have you been? How long you been rapping?
Well, I started in high school. So I went to Jones College Prep, where Chance the Rapper went actually, and so that was pretty dope. He was great, and I mostly did a lot of beats, and I kind of just goofed around with rapping, trying to like emulate other artists. So you know, um, but I've been kind of just taking it more seriously since I went to the Art Institute in Chicago. Um, and I was in a hip hop poetics class, and we had to have um, like themed raps. We had to have like prompts and everything. So I tried to hone it in and try to grasp more of like what my style is through, through like, like chipping away until I get to, a nugget of something that's like truly like what I'm about and stuff like that. So yeah.
Yeah, like I think that my creative process is similar, where it's just sort of like, especially with comedy, like you just kind of have to spew it out, and then from that you can kind of pick out the gems, out of like this big mountain of shit. Yeah. So, you went to Art Institute Chicago. Did you graduate there?
Yeah, I graduated 2015. So I mean it was a great experience. And basically like I mostly did video work while I was there. But rapping was kind of like this way that I had of like getting over certain situations in my life, and certain just anxieties that I had. Um from just various things, various traumas, I don't know, bad breakups or whatever, so it was like a way of building the confidence, I guess, back up in myself, to move forward and to just be a person. So yeah.
That's awesome. I always like, this whole thing is sort of to try and encourage people, because I sort of started making music kind of as a goof too. I was just messing around. I got this new laptop, and then eventually I played it for someone, and someone was like, "You want to play a show?" And I was like, "Sure." I was in way over my head. I was playing New Year's Eve at 2 a.m., and I didn't even have the right, I had no gear, pretty much. No, I knew how to DJ on vinyl, but the Serato wasn't even out. It wasn't a thing yet, so that wasn't an option. So I was trying to learn all this, and then eventually I got my degree in multimedia. What was your degree in?
My degree was in it. It's funny because my degree on paper was film and video, but I never actually took any film classes while I was there. I just did film like on the side, as like a little escape from, and I know that's kind of ridiculous because a lot of kids who went there were just like, like, oh my God, I've got all of the, I have to like, you know, paint 5 things, and then I have to, do this giant essay on Godard or whatever, and what am I, like, when am I going to get that free time? And like my free time was like my film shit, that was like my way of like getting away from the other stuff that I actually had to do. So I don't know. It's all just about like basically if you love what you do, like if you love art, it's kind of like the way I see it, I'm kind of going off on a little thing, but like it's kind of like, somebody who goes to MIT, like they love math and science and they're just like all about that's their entire life. And right. That's the same. Yeah. Nerds are taking over the world. Yeah. Good. Good. Nerds and artists, man. Nerds and liberals, dude. Yeah. So it's kind of like, the same thing for the Art Institute. Like if you don't like love, and if it doesn't come like naturally, and if you aren't like your whole life isn't about that, then you're probably gonna like drop out. And there was like a huge dropout rate of like 40% of kids at the school. But yeah, it's just having that love, and then it just boom.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That fire. It's like some people have really good taste, and they start making art and the art's not good. And the reason they know that is because they have good taste. So like, but they don't understand that you can get better. Like you know the you learn the techniques. The good taste is what's intrinsic and what you're gifted with, you know. But the same good taste that makes you realize your art isn't up to your vision is what will eventually make you a great artist. But it's like you just have to train. That's all it is, you know. And a lot of kids at in the multimedia arts and sciences program, now the new media program at UNCA. Shout out to Lehan, you rock. Uh, she's the director of that program. But um, so how did you said I noticed you want to get into some politics shit real quick? Yeah, you want to? All right. So I noticed you said liberals, and but you know you're an artist, so I assume you're into free expression. So when you say liberals, are you talking like classical liberals, or are we talking because there's a new movement to try and censor people's speech, you know, and there's a lot of people call it call things hate speech that have not incited any violence. I feel really strongly about this issue because I think if we lose the ability to talk and say the wrong thing, say things that upset people, um, then we lose the ability to think. Because if we can't say certain words, we can't talk about these complex issues and figure it out. And sometimes, like just ignorance will make you cross a line that you didn't realize you were crossing. And I noticed, like with the far left, there's a lot of folks who don't take intent into consideration. So it's just like I make this noise with my mouth, and then therefore I'm a bad person. Do you know what I mean? So when you say liberal, like what's your definition of a liberal? Because that's one thing I think people get wrong all the time, and I'd love to know what your definition of a liberal is, and then because I think that would help me understand what you mean more, you know, as opposed to going with what my definition of a liberal is, because obviously I have my biases. So I'll take yours at face value. So what is that?
Oh boy. Okay. Well, I mean, I suppose calling someone a liberal, like I think my definition would probably be like I'm not big into politics like at all, honestly. But my definition would probably be anybody who's just trying actively to progress this nation forward and progress like who we are as a people, and not to like backtrack. And I think art is something that a lot of people mistake, the intention of the artist or like what the piece represents as like what the artist like as a person is about, as opposed to like, because all good art is really supposed to be like something that's confrontational, something that just makes you think. So there's a lot of like, really like, like buzz, put it should push your buttons and have a purpose,
Not necessarily offend someone. I don't think that's a necessary component, but it should definitely, at times at least, or an artist at some time in their life should absolutely do something that challenges the viewer. But you know, one thing, when you start making art for a living, you kind of get trapped in this cycle because you have to make something that's marketable. And some people naturally, it comes right from their heart, they make stuff that's marketable. And but you know, people like me, I'm a fucking weirdo, you know, like I don't, my stuff, I've been on a couple record labels, but generally like I'm on the fringes of everything because it's really hard to, I don't make genre specific music very much. I have, but um I think that artists and do a great job at social commentary, but they also are a little silly sometimes too. I mean, like to be real, a lot of modern art is fucking ridiculous. Um, but I do like conceptual art, and I think that sort of thing uh, can really make people think and challenge them. especially hip hop for some like that. This is America, and then that other song about I'm not racist. Like those were powerful, and they came out around the same time, and it created actually a healthy dialogue because when you say anyone who wants to progress the nation forward, I would say that pretty much both sides want to progress the nation forward, but we have maybe different goals, but more likely different paths to get there, And I think if we can figure out what we actually want as a society, because like you say, some people want to go like as you described it backwards, but I think another way to put it, and I'm not one of these people. I'm very much uh, basically I believe you should be able to get an abortion while buying free drugs and not free, buying legal drugs, and go stop and grab some ammo for your semi-automatic like yeah, I basically believe that we need as few laws as possible, um but it's just a different approach to. I believe that most Americans have no personal accountability and are not at all prepared to survive on their own without this society. And so, if we can figure out a way to teach people the skills to be self-reliant, um, then they're not going to depend on the status quo. So maybe that would help push things along in a positive way. Uh, I guess. Sorry to ramble, but that was an interesting concept. All right, let's do some. Okay, let's do some false stuff. Okay. All right. All drugs should be legal.
Well, there's I think it's Portugal or someplace that I think it's Portugal where like most drugs are legal, and the like I believe that the use of those drugs, if I can remember the statistics, like decreased by like 30% or something for legalizing everything, which I think is a really interesting thing. And I think a lot of the reason why like people are abusing so many drugs is because that's like this outlet as opposed to something that like is commonplace. They're using it as something to like take like they're using it in a way to get away from reality. um and I think that like there are definitely some drugs that should not be legal. Like I don't think like hard drugs should be legal here. That would be intense. And I think that I think when it comes to like weed, I think weed should absolutely be legal. I like a lot of people. I think that it's like a lot better for you than like alcohol. And I'm saying that as somebody who like drinks a lot. I think it's like I think kratom is like one of the most beautiful things that I've taken, and that's something that's like not even it's all basically stuff that like people should figure out if it helps you, whether it's like a Prozac or anything like prescribed, or whether it's not, if it's helpful to you, and if you can reflect on it at the end of the day. And, that made my day a little better. That was like that was a dope time I had on that, and like be really sure about that answer. Then I think that it's probably whatever helps you build yourself as a person, and makes you like evolve and grow. And if it's hindering you, then I think weed is like a huge thing that like can hinder a lot of people. A lot of people just stay inside, and they just become like like moles in their little hole. And just all they do is just smoke weed all day, and that's kind of like a hindrance. And but then there are some people who like I'll take 2 hits of some good sour diesel, and I'll make a crazy painting that I never would have made before, in some wild style that I never would have thought of. And it's whatever expands your mind, and whatever makes you think differently, like, huh, I never would have thought about that before. Then I think it's good.
Um, Yeah, it's interesting. Well, I want to say point out a couple of things that I think you said you don't want hard drugs to be legal, and I gotta disagree with you because I feel like most of the crime associated with drug users and drug dealers has to do with the fact that there's a black market for it. So, but if you could get clean, safe, and by the way, I don't use hard drugs very often. Love you, mom. Uh, Definitely no heroin. My brother died from a heroin overdose, but it was because there was fentanyl in it. But if it was legal, um, who knows? What would have happened? He may still have succumbed to his addiction, but he was doing better at that time, and uh, they said the dose that he did wasn't that high, but the fentanyl was like through the roof, and that's because there's a black market. That's because the average s- you know heroin addict is not in a point in their life where they're going to be testing every bag of drugs that they get. you know that sort of desperation just makes you do really irresponsible things. I know firsthand. I've got like 12 years clean, but I spent years and years, basically rolling the dice every day. Um, and I wouldn't advocate that people use certain like hard drugs, but I think if they were legal and we would know exactly what was in them, we would take out the entire black market, the entire cartel. We would demystify a lot of these drugs, um, because you could get effective, legitimate information on them while you're buying them, at a pharmacy or wherever you decide to do it. And I just think it would minimize a lot of overdoses and a lot of crime. And I also think people should be basically allowed to be irresponsible, to a certain degree, as long as you're not endangering others. And then you could also use the funds from that to have free drug rehab and counseling, because a lot of it has to do with mental health. As you said, people are trying to escape, and you know you can get that escape in a lot of different ways, and one of them is drugs. But if people had counseling and drug treatment available to them, funded by the sale of drugs, I think that we could really, um, cut down on a lot of the trauma and the just because it destroys families. I mean, in one year, I knew a dozen people up in Massachusetts. There's an epidemic up there, pretty much everywhere. But let's go to the next one, since we're talking about possibly killing yourself by accident. What do you think? Do you think assisted suicide or suicide should be? Uh, I told you we're getting real. We're going for it. We're getting real. Look, we'll talk more about you, but this is one way to learn about who you are. You know. Uh, what do you think? I think you should be allowed to kill yourself. What do you think?
This wow, yeah. This is an interesting. I did not know the. I'm happy the conversation is going in this way, because I think these are things that like should be definitely be talked about, and I'm like right on. Okay. So I think in terms of it's a tricky because my some of my work like talks about, like in that first song I was talking about, like cutting, and like suicidal tendencies essentially, which I like sometimes deal with. And I think in terms of like you have to be very careful when it comes to like I think assisted suicide should definitely be like, especially if it's like somebody in hospice or somebody who's like just in a huge amount of pain from a disease that they can't find any like real answer for. I think then that's like the most painless way for it's going to cause a lot less pain than like if the person wasn't going would still be like suffering for everyone, for like the family and for the person themselves. So I think in terms of like suicide, there just needs to be more. There needs to be just better mental health care out here. In the world. I mean, there's a lot of people who are suffering from things that they just don't know how to get the help for, and they just don't know, like, because it costs money to do everything, to check into a mental health facility. I think if we had like free mental health care, that there would be a lot of these issues would be able to be helped, and a lot of people would reach out more. But because there's all this like medicine, people trying to make as much money on the pharmaceutical business as possible. I think that a lot of what we're talking about basically is just like the big corporations making money off of people's like mental illness. And that's why I think a lot of doctors, a lot of, I mean, I may be going on a little bit of a limb here, but I think that a lot of psychiatrists who prescribe drugs are prescribing lots of different drugs, not because they're trying to like figure out like what is the one for you, but because they're trying to just get these drugs like out to people so that people can, like you might get hooked on a drug, or you might like come back and like, that wasn't the drug for me, but like you're gonna go out then and buy that drug, and then it's like, oh, that didn't work, here, try this one. And then it's basically just more money, as opposed to like stuff that, dare I say, like mushrooms, which have like proponents to help depression. I know my buddy went to he comes from kind of a well-off family, we'll say, and he went to a psychiatrist, and he was talking about all these depression issues he was dealing with, and like going on, and then like the psychiatrist who also saw like celebrities and stuff basically told him to take shrooms and like come back and see like what, she didn't give him a single prescription for it. She was just like, fine, you got a buddy with some shrooms, well, fucking try those. And like, sure enough, he like, he wasn't cured like that, but after microdosing for a month or so, it really did affect him in a really positive way. So I think that, but people don't want to talk about that because there's no money, there's no market for that. That exists entirely in the black market, or in the.
No, just jokes. These are jokes, folks. I'm yeah, you look like a dragon. Yeah, you're dressed as a pharaoh, and I can see your aura, and it's orange. Mm. Yeah, no, totally. I'm with whatever works for you. So I think some people should absolutely, if you have a problem with defining boundaries in your reality, you probably don't need to take something that dissolves boundaries like psychedelics. But if you are having a problem opening pathways, you're too closed off, you're too tight, I'm not going to say you should do it, but because there is a risk of triggering dormant schizophrenia or whatever. But if you do, you'll we're in a brotherhood. I love you. I hope people can figure out, I hope there's some way eventually to figure out a way, if psychedelics are safe, maybe through a psychological analysis, or just looking at the genetic profile. I don't know how that would work. I'm a dummy. But some of the, psychedelics have absolutely shaped my life, changed my life. They're like, and I'm so grateful that I was able to have my world opened up and kind of jolt me out of the hypnosis of the Babylon I was living in, growing up in. And I didn't realize till I moved here that I never felt at home until I was like 25 or something. Did you grow up here? How old are you? Where'd you come from?
So I'm from Chicago, actually. Age, sex, location. So age, I'm 103 spiritually. No, like not one of those hippies. Yeah, I'm a very wise sage. But yeah, I'm 26 and I'm from Chicago, from like the city, kind of on the fringes of the city, but not really the suburbs. So I was kind of like half in, half out of, um, which I was in the north side. So I didn't, yeah, and I didn't have to deal with all the the shit. Thankfully enough. And that's something I can never really like empathize with. So that's not something I like. I'm not gonna lie. I was kind of like a doofus when I started rapping, and I was kind of like, I would try to emulate other rappers and be like, oh, I got my Glock 16 or under the dashboard, and like I, it was just dumb. I like that wasn't me, and so I had to figure out like slowly but surely like actual subjects that like niche commentary in my rap, stuff that I deal with, like like mental health or like just lifestyle, and just very like personal stuff as opposed to like political and cultural shit that's going on. And I'm not gonna like pretend to know like anything about that. Like I can read about it, but I didn't live that. So I just rap what I know about and make art about what I know about too, like other types of art. And yeah, like, but you were talking about how like psychedelics like helped open up your mind, and like definitely after I took shrooms, that was like a big awakening for me in terms of my just in terms of like letting loose and not being so rigid about like my um like being more social, I guess, with my art in a certain way, not like being social in general, but just like opening up more, to like making other people like doing art for other people as opposed to like doing art for myself that like nobody can understand, because I did do that for a while. I did do art that like was super personal to me and really like, it was just kind of like this just masturbatory venture, a lot of it not, but um some you know somewhere along the line I took shrooms and I started making art for other people, and as much as myself. So yeah, yeah, it helped. It definitely helped me grow as an artist is what I'm saying.
All right. Right on, man. Yeah, you have like it seems like a lot of artists, it's like your work and our work is like it's a lens through which we're viewing our subjective reality. So it's like this like scrapbook of thoughts and experiences and ideas, and um you have a very lyrical technical style. uh who are who are some of your early influences? When did you start rapping? Can't remember if you said that, but was it like in your teens? Is that
I mean, yeah, I started rapping pretty much. Well, actually, I started around eighth grade, so like eighth grade talent show and whatnot. And so I would just make these little garage band beats with the loops that are in the program. Um, and yeah, but I started sampling though. Like I've been sampling, doing sample based uh instrumentals for a really long time. And I've definitely I still use some of the same software that I used to use too. And but in terms of influences, I would say like it's tough because like I mean with lyrics, I would say I started off listening to like Eminem, and I started listening to like but a lot, and I started listening to rap like Jay-Z, and I got this really weird sort of perspective on it because I thought I didn't know really what he was talking about when he was, talking about like grams to Grammys and stuff like. So I would think if he said grams to Grammys, I think of like Golden Grams cereal or something like that. I think of like just dumb like
come on, man, you were from the suburbs. Did you have a cupboard?
We had several cupboards. Yeah. But I did not have any stuff in the cupboard that Jay-Z was rapping about having in the cupboard. There was no no Indians in the cupboard, as that was a good book. But so I don't know. So I had this really weird abstract. So I kind of brought that abstraction into some of my lyrics earlier on, because I would just misinterpret like everything that I would hear. And I did not get the street slang, so I just made up these images in my head. It gave me some crazy wonky images. And I still kind of have that style, I guess, now with these raps, especially the first two songs, talking about like, objects as like like alive or something like that, or in a different way that nobody would really, think about consciously, trying to bring more of the like pre-conscious, non-conscious stuff into the foreground.
Right on, man. So, what was did you come from? Do you have both parents in your house when you're growing up? Like, what was your uh did you skateboard? Were they the type of folks that would drop you off at the skateboard? Like, what was your childhood like? What are some of your best memories from, let's say, like up until middle school before you started rapping?
So nostalgia is like a really big theme of my work, and I would say that, like, I grew up in a very it was very middle class. It was very, straight, and the grass was cut and the kids were out playing in the sprinkler and whatnot. I would say, like, just like doing things with friends, like going to little like Halloween fairs or something like that, a little like, going on trips, road trips with the family, like, and just seeing, like, I got a lot of perspective that later I would use for my work, in terms of those things that now, I don't like, now that I'm like growing up, and those things are kind of gone, having this, like, seeing them as sort of these like zombified images, and like, taking that nostalgia and really sort of like turning it into this almost like these like entities or something like that, so like really like this yearning for the past, because it is real. It is like a huge, like, I think about it a lot, and that has to do with some of my like mental shit that I deal with, in terms of uh just a myriad of different psychological factors, I guess. But I was very much like, kids in the neighborhood. There were a lot of kids in the neighborhood. We would like play cards. We do ultimate frisbee. We would dress up for Halloween. We would do all that, and it's and go camping and stuff. And that that stuff was, it helped me mold myself into the type of artist, in terms of like, you know the reflection and the depth of these memories, and just like peeling back the layers of them, and like I have OCD too, so I have like this obsessive rumination, already. So I look back a lot on past events and occurrences, um and so I like go over like things from my past like over and over, and I suppose that like that also factors into like thinking about, even back like ruminating about stuff from middle school and stuff like that, and really just like pining away, and it all kind of factors into my like, obsessive, and that my art is kind of a good way of like an outlet of getting it out, and just explaining what I deal with in my head and shit.
Right on. So, where did you get along with your folks through your teens? Like, what was high school and middle school like? I had a real dog shit time, I'll tell you. Uh, and my parents loved me very much, but they didn't know how to be supportive and interested in the things I was interested in. like they only had their goals. And I'd like to know, um, if you basically, like, what was high school like? Did you like school? Did you hate it? Were you picked on? And then also, if you could have your way, where would you, and you could make anything in the world possible, where would you want to be in 5 years for yourself and for your, community?
Right on. So yeah, I would say basically in high school I kind of like had this I had issues with just fitting in general, like I started off kind of, like fitting in, and I was pretty, pretty well endowed socially and whatnot. Um and I would say somewhere along the line I just kind of said fuck it, and I kind of just, became like really antisocial. And that was around the time that I started like really figuring out who I am, and dealing with also with mental illness, like around like sophomore year I was like diagnosed with like OCD and stuff. So it was tough to fit in, and because I was always trying to like find an outlet for my OCD. So, and art was like the only way I could do that, because even when I was socializing I would be constantly thinking about just my thoughts would just be bubbling over and stuff. So I was always just kind of like the person who, instead of, in, with the group of friends, like at the cafeteria table, I would just be like working on like a film script in the corner or something like that. And I was just like obsessing over just getting like an early start. I did film in high school too, and like that was something that my folks were like really like weirded out by. Like I guess they didn't know exactly like why I was doing, like they were kind of supportive of it, but they were also like, oh, you have to focus on your grades, and you have to focus on, and then like I just, yeah. And so but I focused way too much on my art. And I was yeah, I would just be like rummaging, in the basement for like objects to use in a film, and like and I would come up with like, just a giant like garage sale of shit. And I'd be like, oh, can I take all of this to go, and shoot this movie and stuff like that? And they would like freak out, and they were like, no, you can't take all. And I like would anyways. And just like, yeah, focusing like all of my energy on that. So I did get a lot of and I was pretty naughty, I guess, in high school. I would sneak out and shit to girlfriends' houses, and come back super late. And yeah, I mean, I would I know, I just, couldn't help myself. And so I guess I was my folks also didn't really just understand, like there was a lot of stuff, like I would also dress very like eccentrically, in this effeminate attire and whatnot. And my dad especially didn't really know how to, handle that, I guess. And so he was kind of like, I don't want to say like abusive or whatever, but kind of, like verbal, like there was verbal badgering and shit. So there was a lot of that. And it was but then he went on this like monk retreat in like West Virginia or some shit for a week, and he came back and he was like, he was like spiritually cleansed, or so, he was totally understanding and like apologized for everything. And I was like, oh shit, that's pretty cool. Yeah, it was powerful. um yeah, there's like a bowl of rice a day and waking up at 4 a.m. I guess we'll like do that to you. Not speaking, like they couldn't speak for a week or something, which is impossible for me. Yeah, probably ruminating on some shit. Yeah. And yeah, I think he really thought long and hard about, some of the behaviors and stuff. And I have too, you know. But yeah, I guess in answer to your question, about like if I could have anything, where would I be in 5 years? I really want to um have my music like my electronic music actually. I really my electronic music deals with a lot of the same themes that are in my rap, like which are basically all like, nocturnal thoughts, and like, just like being alone in the night, and like being, having this sort of, open landscape around you, to make you feel like comfortable and whatnot, just being in the middle of nowhere, as like a way of like putting sort of a blanket on yourself, just this stuff that like is kind of like, hopefully people can kind of empathize with to a certain degree. But I want to, so I guess in answer, so I want to like have my music out there, but I want to do it in a way because like my music is very it's been called cinematic, before. Yeah. And like it kind of paints these pictures, and I want to make either like a musical with it and have that out there, or I want to like have like I've been thinking a lot about like video games and like how that is a vessel for like, just like the idea of like choosing where you want to go and what you want to do for your own like enjoyment and experience inside of this like little console. I think is really cool and I think would fit in with the concepts of my music a lot. And yeah, I just want to get that more out there and figure out a way because I don't really have any hardware, so I can't really perform my electronic music live right now. Like I could learn, but I'm like, I don't know, I'm lazy as fuck. Just like I'm just like burnt out just making it. So like it's hard to, figure out like a whole new program and stuff and new like instruments. So maybe if I could like redo it with live instruments and like have live performers do it, or if I could find a vessel to carry it in like a video game or like a movie, I think that would be awesome. But I think it has to be like, like I definitely have to have like a certain plate for it to sit on, in terms of like, or a certain like way to present it. Yeah.
But you might want to consider interactive or just dynamic multimedia installations to where your music is presented more like a piece of art, and you can incorporate either visuals or sculptural elements or you know like 2D images that paint a story that syncs with the music, kind of like a Wizard of Oz Dark Side sort of thing. But so you, it sounds like you'd like to take music as far as you can, but you're gonna do it on your terms, and you're gonna, no matter where you end up, you're gonna like who you are and be okay with how it went down, and that's real important. If you want, man, I'm always happy to help you figure out a way to get your performance game straight. We could probably get you one piece of hardware, or we'll find you an Ableton hack. Just kidding, just kidding. We'll buy a license. Promise, Ableton. Those Germans, man, you don't want to mess with them. Mm-mm. Now Berlin, stand up. I heard Berlin's like one of the coolest cities in the world. Are you interested in traveling at all? Have you done much traveling?
Yeah, I lived in Italy for a year when I was 4, and that was wild. I don't remember too much about it, except for like the chocolate croissants that I used to eat. That was like the chocolate croissants and the pear juice. They had like, I don't know what it was about the pear juice, but it was so nice and rich and like thick. And I'm not gonna go into it, but but, like it. I really enjoyed going to Costa Rica. I went to Costa Rica a few years ago, and that was the shit. That was awesome, and that really opened me up to a whole new way of looking at things. It also challenged some ideas about myself and everything that I like. It just opened me up to like a lot of amazing shit and new experiences, and it was a great escape from the reality that I found myself in, like, mentally mostly. But yeah, I would say if anybody deals with like getting back to the whole like mental illness thing, if anyone's dealing with like mental issues and stuff, like travel is awesome. Like I know it's like, people want to say like just say like, oh, go out and travel. Like everybody needs to just go out and and it's like, okay, how the hell are you getting the money to do that? But if you can find some way, like a grant or something, if you're an artist and you make your work and like you get an opportunity to go out, like, or if you just you know, if you just say fuck it and you just like stick your thumb out on the side of the road, you know, it's definitely like bringing yourself out of your environment, out of your immediate environment is kind of like bringing yourself out of your head or into a new, you know, space in your head. At least, you know, going to a new place is going to a new place in your brain, and I think that that's like important for people to do. That's definitely something that like gives a lot of fresh air to thought. And yeah, so but yeah, Costa Rica was awesome, man. And have you ever been to Costa Rica or any middle Central America?
No, I would love. I haven't. I've been to France when I was in high school on like an exchange trip, but I've been poor. I was like a junkie for most of my early 20s, and then I got married, and that didn't work out. That was. It's okay. Yeah. No. Lisa was she was cool, but uh it wasn't good. No, it was good to get some new some new views on the world. But no, I definitely think that we have a very limited perspective here in the States based on like what life is like and what reality is like, and going to experience that elsewhere is a great way to kind of shake you out of your little trance or stupor. But I don't know, man. I really appreciate you coming out. Uh, is there anything else you want to talk about?
I did, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess that pretty much sums it up. Yeah, just, you know, thanks for having me, and hope to be back at some point in the future. You know, yeah, yeah, it was great. It was a lot of fun and really insightful talk. We covered all the bases. You know, we definitely went around the world and back.
Oh yeah, man. Well, yeah, it was a great convo. I appreciate you opening up to me. We are going to throw on some house music and leave a little bit of time for Q&A. If you have any questions for these artists, they'll be hanging around. You can do it on the mic or off the mic, whatever you like. And then we're going to, speaking of moving to new places, we'll go hang out in the back, and I'm going to set up an Ableton workstation, and anyone who wants to learn a little bit about how that works is welcome to come back there. If you have any gear you want to plug in, you're welcome to do that. It's just a time where we can sort of all get together and either collaborate or at least just kind of figure out what goes on in each other's heads. So that's what this is all about. Appreciate you, man. Yeah, man. We'll have you back soon. Appreciate it. All right, y'all. Oh, shit. All right. From Noble Kava, Asheville, North Carolina. We sell Kava. We sell kratom. We sell good lovin'. We Noble Kava, we sell Kava. We appreciate y'all for hanging out with us on this beautiful, beautiful Thursday night. We do this every third Thursday. And we're trying to build up our following. So if you liked it, if you hated it, go ahead and share that. Tell us why. If I said anything that offends you, I'm not sorry. I stand by everything I said. And you should stir up some controversy if you want. All right. There's going to be a mic here available. We have these artists. If anyone has questions, they can come up, do it on the couch, or they can just talk to them like a normal person. Give us about 20 minutes, and then we'll set up the workshop in the back. One love. All right, internet land. It's that time. We're gonna break this down. We're gonna go do our workshop in the back, and unfortunately, we're not gonna share that with you. We need you to come down to Noble Kava, third Thursdays every month, and you can come hang out in person. We appreciate all you guys out there, all 6 of you. We love you. And we'll see you next month. We're going to build this thing up. One love. Stay blessed.